Imagine being trapped in a world of wealth and luxury, but feeling emptier than ever. Now, picture a woman from a completely different world, with nothing but love and hope to give. What happens when their paths collide? The answer will leave you stunned. Jason Cole, a self-made millionaire, owns a sprawling mansion atop a hill, a modern palace nestled in an isolated corner of the city. The opulence of the house is a striking contrast to the coldness within. Despite the high walls and lush greenery surrounding the estate, the mansion feels lifeless, like a place that had never truly been lived in. Jason, a man in his mid-30s, tall and rugged, is a man defined by his success but haunted by an emptiness he cannot escape. His sharp jawline and perfectly tailored suits tell a story of professionalism and control, yet his eyes tell another, a quiet sadness, a pain he buried deep within after the tragic loss of his wife years ago. A soft knock on the mansion's massive doors breaks his solitude. It's Emma Collins, a woman in her late 20s, wearing a simple yet worn-out dress, with her untidy dark brown hair tied in a modest bun and tired eyes that spoke of sleepless nights. She looks every bit the struggling single mother. She's come to apply for the job as a maid job that promises a paycheck large enough to cover the bills and provide her young son, Ben, a better life. The moment their eyes meet, the difference between their worlds is palpable. Emma's hands tremble slightly, but her resolve remains strong. Jason doesn't care much about the people who work for him. To him, they are simply a part of his estate, just another cog in the wheel of his daily routine. His staff, including the butler James, are quiet, efficient, and keep their distance. They know better than to engage with their employer beyond the essentials. But Emma is different. She's not just another maid. Her resilience, and the love she carries for her son, spark something within Jason, a feeling he hasn't had in years. On Emma's first day in the mansion, she's introduced to the strict rules of the house. She must not interact with Jason, or even speak unless spoken to. The mansion is, after all, a symbol of Jason's wealth, and he doesn't like it being disturbed by anything, least of all, emotions. As Emma starts cleaning the grand rooms, she notices the emptiness around her walls lined with beautiful art, yet a sense of loneliness lingering in the air. Jason walks by her on occasion, a figure of cold indifference, but she can't help but feel that tea here is more to him than meets the eye. As the days pass, Emma settles into the routines of the mansion. She cleans the vast, echoing halls and the luxurious bedrooms, her every move scrutinized by the ever-watchful eyes of James, the butler. She finds solace in the small, unnoticed tasks, dusting a shelf, folding towels, or making Jason's bed. She's used to being invisible, used to being a background figure in the lives of the wealthy. Yet the longer she stays, the more she starts to feel a strange connection to the mansion, as though it holds untold stories within its walls. Emma's heart remains heavy, however, thinking of her young son, Ben. Though she is far away from him most days, she carries a picture of him in her pocket, a reminder of why she endures the grueling work. Ben, a lively 8-year-old boy with an infectious smile, is the only thing that keeps her going. He is her purpose. Meanwhile, Jason remains distant, isolated in his world of financial success. His mansion, his business empire, and the vast fortune he has amassed mean little in the absence of love and companionship. The mansion's beauty seems to mock him, reminding him of what he lost to family, a home filled with laughter. His heart has grown cold, and no amount of wealth can thaw the ice that's formed around it. It's not until an unexpected incident that the first true connection between Jason and Emma forms. Late one night, as Emma is cleaning one of the grand bedrooms, a strange smell wafts through the air. At first, she dismisses it, assuming it's just the old wood or dust that's accumulated over the years. But as the smell grows stronger, she realizes something is wrong. The mansion is on fire. Frantically, Emma rushes down the halls, her heart pounding in her chest. The fire is spreading fast, and she knows she must act quickly. She spots Jason's baby, Lucas, sleeping in his crib, completely unaware of the danger approaching. Without thinking, Emma rushes to the crib, scooping up the infant and racing out of the room, the smoke thickening around her. Jason, who had been unaware of the growing fire, arrives just in time to see Emma, his heart racing as he watches her carry his son to safety. The flames are licking at the walls now, and panic begins to settle in. Emma, her body covered in soot and sweat, doesn't hesitate for a second. She shields Lucas with her own body, keeping him safe as the fire threatens to consume everything. Jason watches, stunned, as she carries his son out into the night air, leaving the burning mansion behind. The fire was a wake-up call, not just for the mansion, but for Jason too. In the aftermath, as the mansion is slowly rebuilt, Jason finds himself unable to stop thinking about Emma. He had watched her during the rescue, her determination and strength starkly contrasting his own empty existence. For the first time in years, he feels a flicker of something in his chest, something akin to gratitude, perhaps even admiration. Days go by, and Emma's presence in the mansion becomes more of a constant. She's still performing her cleaning duties, but Jason finds himself seeking her out. His cold exterior begins to crack, though he doesn't fully understand why. In the quiet moments after the fire, when everything else in the mansion is being repaired, he sees Emma in a new light. Emma, on the other hand, is still trying to come to terms with her own feelings. While she's grateful for having saved Lucas, she doesn't seek recognition. Her life is defined by the love she has for her son and her duty to provide for him. But in the vastness of the mansion, where luxury fills every room, she feels the gap between her own world and Jason's more sharply than ever. The disparity between them seems insurmountable. Yet here is something drawing them together, something Emma can't quite put her finger on. Jason's internal struggle grows. He's never allowed anyone to get too close to him, not since the tragic loss of his family years ago. The memory of his wife's death and the distance between him and his son has kept him emotionally isolated. But with Emma's bravery, with her quiet strength, he feels a shift. She represents everything he's lost, and somehow, she makes him want to break free from his self-imposed cage. Meanwhile, Emma's life outside the mansion is fraught with difficulties. Ben, her son, is constantly asking about her new job, and Emma's heart aches every time she sees the disappointment in his eyes when she leaves for work. Still, she pushes forward. Her paycheck from the mansion, though small, is a lifeline. She holds on to the hope that one day, things will be better for her and Ben. But as her bond with Jason strengthens, Emma starts to question whether the world she's been a part of for so long is truly what she wants. One evening, after a long day of cleaning, Jason asks Emma to stay after her shift. At first, she's reluctant, aware of the boundaries between them. But here is something in his eyes, a vulnerability that draws her in. It's the first time he's spoken to her beyond the usual pleasantries. He asks her about her life, how she ended up working for him, what she dreams of. Emma is taken aback by the sincerity in his voice. She shares the basics, the struggles, and the hope she still carries for Ben's future. As the days pass, Emma and Jason's interactions become more frequent. Jason's initial cold demeanor begins to fade, replaced by moments of vulnerability. He starts to see Emma as more than just a maid. She becomes the person he turns to when the mansion feels too large and too empty. Emma, in turn, is beginning to feel the weight of her emotions as she allows herself to care for someone other than her son. Despite their different worlds, a connection forms between them, unspoken but undeniable. One day, as Emma is dusting in the library, she stumbles upon an old family album. Flipping through it, she finds a photograph that takes her by surprise. Here is a man in the picture who looks strikingly similar to her late husband. The realization hits her hard. Could it be possible that Jason knew her husband? The thought lingers in her mind, the mystery growing. But she can't afford to confront him about it, not yet. The discovery only adds to her internal conflict, as she realizes just how much of Jason's life remains hidden from her. Meanwhile, Jason's growing affection for Emma doesn't go unnoticed by the mansion staff. Mr. Oliver, the butler, has always seen himself as Jason's protector, the one who ensures the mansion remains a fortress against the outside world. When he notices Jason's softening demeanor towards Emma, he feels uneasy. He warns Jason subtly, reminding him of the difference in their social stations, suggesting that any emotional attachment to Emma would only complicate things. But Jason, for the first time in years, is starting to ignore the walls he's built around himself. The night grows tense as a small party is held in the mansion, a rare occasion for Jason, who typically avoids such gatherings. Emma, as always, is working in the background, but she can't help but notice Jason. lost in thought among his guests. She sees the loneliness in him despite the crowd around him, and it strikes her deeply. For a moment, she wonders if he's capable of letting someone in, or if he's so locked away in his grief that he'll never truly connect with anyone. Later that evening, when most of the guests have left, Jason seeks out Emma. The vulnerability he shows is startling, and for the first time Emma feels the weight of his pain. He admits, quietly, that he's always been afraid of connecting with others because of the past he's lost. Emma listens, her own heart heavy with empathy. She sees in Jason a man haunted by regret, a man who has never truly healed from the wounds of his past. Their moment is interrupted when Lucas, Jason's young son, calls out from the hallway, needing comfort. The scene pulls Emma back into reality, her own responsibilities, as a mother reminding her that she must stay strong for Ben. She can't afford to lose herself in someone else's pain. Not when she has her own struggles to navigate, but as she heads out of the room, she looks back at Jason just for a second, and she sees the raw need in his eyes. The tension has been building for weeks, and the moment finally arrives. Ethan, full of youthful curiosity, sneaks into the mansion's sprawling gardens while his father, Jason, is distracted with business matters. He wanders deeper into the estate, unknowingly approaching one of the older wings, a part of the mansion that Jason has always kept locked off. Unaware of the potential danger, Ethan's innocent exploration turns into an accident when he slips and falls near an old rickety structure, injuring his leg in the process. Emma, who has grown increasingly fond of Jason's son, is the first to find him, her heart pounding as she helps him up. She tries to calm him, but his injury is more serious than it seems. The panic sets in as she realizes here is no time to waste. Ethan needs medical attention immediately. Her mind races, considering what to do, but she knows here is only one person who can truly help. Rushing through the mansion, Emma finds Jason in his study, his face lit only by the dim light of the lamp. She bursts in, breathless, with fear in her eyes. Jason, startled, immediately stands up, his face a mixture of confusion and concern. Without a word, Emma grabs his arm, pulling him urgently towards the garden where Ethan lies on the ground, cradling his injured leg. Jason's heart drops when he sees his son's pale face and the blood seeping from his wound. He kneels beside him, his usual stoic demeanor gone, replaced by genuine panic and concern. In this moment, everything else, his wealth, his cold exterior, his personal issues disappears. His son's safety is all that matters. But as they rush to get Ethan inside, the rawness of the situation exposes something deeper within Jason, a pain he's buried for so long. The memories of his own loss, his brother, flood back in full force. He realizes just how much he's been holding in, how he's kept himself isolated, afraid to let anyone close. The weight of his regrets, his missed chances with his family, becomes overwhelming. Emma, ever the caretaker, doesn't hesitate. She takes charge, offering comfort to Ethan, while Jason scrambles to call for help. The emergency responders are on their way, but in the meantime, Emma holds Ethan close, trying to reassure him with calm words and gentle strokes. Her heart aches for him. She sees in Ethan's innocent face the same kind of vulnerability she's tried to suppress for so long. In that moment, Jason's focus is solely on his son. He realizes that, despite his wealth and power, here is nothing he can do to take away the hurt and the fear in Ethan's eyes. The helplessness he feels is a reminder of the pain he carries from his own past where he failed to protect someone he loved dearly. It's a heavy burden, one that has caused him to push others away for years. As the paramedics arrive, Jason steps back, watching helplessly as they care for his son. The urgency of the situation begins to slow, but the emotional impact remains. It's only now that Jason starts to process what's truly been missing in his life. He looks to Emma, seeing her strength, her unwavering devotion, not only to her son, but to him as well. He realizes that she's been there for him, without even knowing it, all along. Emma notices his gaze, and for the first time, she sees a different side of Jason, a man torn between his past and his future, trying desperately to break free from the walls he's built. The connection between them is undeniable. They are no longer two people from different worlds, they are equals, bound by the same human experience of love, loss, and redemption. In this pivotal moment, Jason takes a deep breath and finally speaks the words that have been hidden for so long. He admits his regrets, his pain, and his fear of losing those he cares about. The walls he's built start to crumble, and with them, the possibility of a future he's never allowed himself to believe in. After the emergency responders leave with Ethan, Jason and Emma are left in the quiet aftermath of the crisis. The mansion feels eerily still, as if it too is holding its breath. Jason, though relieved that Ethan is in safe hands, is shaken to his core. The experience of almost losing his son has stripped away the layers of indifference he's so carefully constructed over the years. He's been forced to face the raw truth. His emotional isolation has cost him more than he ever realized. He spent years burying his feelings, focusing on work and wealth to distract himself from the pain of loss. But now, the walls he built so high are beginning to collapse, and in their place, an unfamiliar sense of connection and vulnerability is growing. Emma, though exhausted from the turmoil, feels a deep sense of responsibility towards Ethan and Jason. Her protective instincts have never wavered, and she now understands more than ever the importance of being there for the people she cares about. Her bond with Jason has changed too. She no longer sees him as the cold, distant millionaire. She sees him as a man who is struggling with his own demons, just as she is. Jason's thoughts drift to his brother, the one he lost so many years ago. His regret over their strained relationship consumes him. If only he had reached out, if only he had been more present, perhaps things would have been different. He's filled with a quiet sorrow, but also with a new determination. He refuses to make the same mistake with Ethan. He vows to be the father his son needs, to no longer shy away from his emotions, and to finally let people into his life. Days pass, and the mansion begins to feel like a home again. Jason spends more time with Ethan, focusing on bonding with him and making up for lost time. They play chess together, something Jason used to do with his brother, and Jason shares stories about their childhood. The bond between father and son deepens, and the healing process begins. Ethan's leg heals well, and though he's still a little shaken by the events, he begins to smile again, his youthful energy returning as the days go by. Emma, too, finds herself changing. She's no longer just a maid in Jason's house. She's someone who's integral to the household, someone who has a stake in this newfound family dynamic. Jason, moved by her strength and resilience, offers her a gesture of gratitude that surprises her. He agrees to sponsor Ethan's education, ensuring he has every opportunity to succeed. Meanwhile, Jason's mentor, Miss Grace, who has been watching his transformation with quiet pride, encourages him to keep pushing forward. She reminds him that it's never too late to change, to make things right. She shares her own experiences of loss and redemption, urging Jason to take action not only for himself but for others who might be in need. Jason, inspired by her words, begins to consider how he can use his wealth to make a real difference. He starts planning a foundation for underprivileged children, something he's always wanted to do but never found the time for. With Emma's encouragement, he envisions a future where he can help others, just as he's been helped by the people around him. Too, for his generosity, and months pass, and life in the mansion has transformed. The once desolate halls that echoed with silence now hum with warmth and activity. Jason, who once lived a solitary life, now fills his days with purposeful work, spending time with Ethan and Emma. The mansion, which had stood as a symbol of his isolation, now serves as a homey place of connection, love, and healing. Jason's foundation for underprivileged children has become a reality, and he regularly meets with donors, volunteers, and community leaders to discuss ways to make a lasting impact on the lives of children who need it the most. For Ethan, the world feels brighter than it has in a long time. The scars from the fire are a distant memory, and his love for his father grows stronger with each passing day. They continue to play chess, but now it's less about the game and more about the shared moments, the quiet exchanges, the laughter, and the deepening bond between father and son. Jason is no longer just a figurehead in Ethan's life. He is a father who is fully present, engaged, and committed to his son's future. Emma's life has also taken a new direction. The weight of her financial struggles has been lifted, thanks to Jason's generosity and support. With Ethan's education secured, Emma has the opportunity to focus on her own dreams, ones she had put aside for years. She is no longer the overworked maid. She is an integral part of the household and someone Jason turns to for advice and support. They have become partners in every sense of the word, with Emma contributing not just in her professional capacity, but also in the nurturing of the family that has grown between them. In the final scene, the mansion is alive with laughter, conversation, and the warmth of family. The grand dining room, once empty and silent, now hosts a dinner where Jason, Emma, Ethan, and Miss Grace all sit together, enjoying each other's company. Tea here is an air of contentment and peace that hangs over the room, a feeling that wasn't there before. Jason looks around at the people he once thought he didn't need, people who have now become his world. His heart is full, and the loneliness that had plagued him for so long seems like a distant memory. As the meal comes to an end, Jason raises a glass, his eyes shining with gratitude. He looks at Emma, at Ethan, and at Miss Grace, and he reflects on the incredible journey that has brought them all together. He has learned something profound through this experience sometimes. It is the people we least expect who teach us the most about ourselves. The people who show us the true meaning of love, sacrifice, and redemption. Jason reflects on the lessons he's learned. He has discovered that wealth and success can't fill the emptiness inside. Only genuine connections, relationships built on trust and care can do that. He has found a new purpose in life, one that goes beyond his own personal gain. By giving back to others, he has found a sense of fulfillment that he never thought possible. The mansion continues to thrive, with Jason taking on an entirely new role within the community. He's no longer the cold, distant businessman he once was. The mansion that once echoed with loneliness has become a beacon of hope, filled with laughter and life. Jason has taken his new role seriously, giving speeches at charity events and working with local schools to provide scholarships to children from underprivileged backgrounds. His foundation for children is thriving, and he has become a prominent figure in the community, someone who others look up to. Emma, too, has found her place. Her life is no longer consumed by stress and worry. She has been able to focus on her own passions, starting a small community project aimed at helping single mothers get back on their feet. Her new sense of purpose has been a source of inspiration to others, especially to those she works with in the mansion, who now see her not just as a maid, but as a powerful force for good in her community. The relationship between her and Jason continues to grow, built on trust, mutual respect, and the love they share for their son. Though their bond was born in tragedy, it has flourished into something beautiful and unbreakable. Ethan has blossomed into a confident, curious young boy who is full of joy. The scars from the fire have healed, both physically and emotionally, and he is now thriving in school, making friends and excelling in his studies. His relationship with his father, Jason, continues to grow stronger each day. Jason no longer sees him as a reminder of the tragedy that once marred his life. Instead, Ethan has become his greatest source of inspiration and love. The bond they share is unshakable, and Jason has vowed to always be there for his son, no matter what. The final dinner scene is more than just a meal. It is a symbol of everything that has been achieved and everything that lies ahead. The dining room is full of warmth as Jason, Emma, Ethan, and Miss Grace share a quiet evening together, basking in the love and understanding they've cultivated over time. Jason takes a moment to look around the table, his heart swelling with gratitude for the family he has found. He never could have imagined that, after all the loss and loneliness he endured, he would find such a profound connection with the people who have entered his life. Jason raises his glass, offering a simple but powerful toast to those who have stood by him through it all. To family, he says, his voice steady with emotion, and to the people who remind us that love can heal even the deepest scars. The room fills with applause, and each person at the table feels the weight of the words. It's been a long journey, but they've all come out stronger on the other side. Jason reflects on everything that has changed. He no longer sees the mansion as a symbol of his wealth, but as a symbol of love, growth, and second chances. The fire, the tragedy, the isolation, none of it defines him anymore. What defines him now is the family he has built and the person he has become. He has learned that true fulfillment comes not from what we possess, but from the relationships we nurture and the lives we touch.